Minnesota, we all know, is a great education state, but still only 4 out of 5 students graduate from high school here.
Oftentimes, once a student drops out, the schools can't get them back. But one charter school in St. Paul has decided to go after these students. Steve Patterson is here now with more on the story. This is pretty cool, Steve.
Yeah, this is cool, you know, and I was actually talking with the executive director, who you'll hear from in a second, and he said, you know, like, that's what we do. We want to find the students that most people would say are just too tough to work with and just take however long it takes to get them to complete high school.
Sense of accomplishment.
Yeah, I would say so. And you see that in the students too. All right, so in order for a school to really re-engage a dropout, especially kids who have, for one reason or another, just given up on the traditional educational approach, that school better be prepared to think outside the box. But first things first, you've got to get them in the building. And for that, you better have a hook.
They sent me home with the enrollment form, and I went home to my mom. I was like, this is the best school ever.
Marcellus Lane was a dropout, frustrated with school and ready to give up, until he found a charter school right up his alley that, by the way, let him do this.
Pollution is personal. My brothers can't work no more.
Mainly, we have students who are very creative.
Tony Simmons is the executive director of High School for the Recording Arts in St. Paul, a non-traditional school that uses the spark of music to light the fire of education.
How do we translate that to show them the relevance of English, math, social studies, science, while they're pursuing creative arts?
A hard-to-reach student body requires teachers that aren't just willing, but eager to adapt. Enter Joey Chenyon.
My challenge is to constantly get to know my students and learn what they need to get started, what they're going to be inspired by, what they're interested in, what they're creatively engaged in, and I use all that stuff to help inform how I write my lessons.
Though non-traditional in nature, students still have to meet state requirements, and in order to graduate, they must first be accepted to college. For Tony Simmons, those acceptance letters refute the commonly held misconception about his students.
The kids that we're working with are throwaways. That is not worth the investment. There could be nothing further from the truth.
And he's convinced that the investment now saves Minnesota money later.
You're really turning a young person from being perhaps dependent on government to being a productive member of society.
Upon graduation, many students like Marcellus Lane will leave the safe haven of school and be faced with the tough reality of life outside of those walls, hoping that the time they spend inside of them will pay off in the end.
I feel like once people leave here and the influences leave their head, you know, they start doing other things and they go back to their old path. So this place is saving people.
Now, as I spoke with the executive director, Tony Simmons, you know, he went on to say that he's hoping that at some point there is an alternative accountability system within the charter school system and how they evaluate school to school, because often he admitted that they will rank low because they have students that come in, their average age 17 whenever they start. And it's like, we're going to take you, if this is your second, third, or fourth time at restarting everything, we'll stay with you as long as it takes, but it generally takes longer than it would a normal student. So according to the current system, it looks a little worse, but I like big picture what they're going for, and that they're going after students that most would probably say, you know what, they might be too far gone. But they take the challenge.
Well, this story, forgive me for, this is just the first thing that comes to mind, is the Jack Black movie, The School of Rock.
School of Rock,
and we see this young man doing the, rapping or hip hop.
Yeah.
Are they teaching him? I mean, what are some of the other musical?
Well, you know what's funny is in any sort of music, there are also students who will do a lot of stuff with just creative arts, film editing, and things like that. But as I was talking with Marcellus Lane, I said, hey, he told me that he rapped. I said, can you rap for me? Can we just rap on the spot? And he said, yeah, do you want me to rap about this, this, this? And then he said, or environmental sciences? And I was like, bingo, let's hear that one. So I heard like the whole track too. It was really good.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I thought air guitar?
Really cool. No, Chris Brown wanted the air guitar section. There you go.